Argentina played 120 minutes of a World Cup final. Lionel Messi, the greatest player in the history of football, was on the pitch. Argentina did not register a single shot on goal, 0 shots on target, 0 shots off target, 0 blocked attempts. The most prolific scorer the sport has ever seen played a full World Cup final and did not pull the trigger once. This is not a story about Argentina losing a World Cup final. This is a story about a machine so efficient it made the greatest player in history invisible for 2 full hours of football. This is the audit. To understand how Spain erased Lionel Messi from a World Cup final, you need to understand what Spain has been building for the last 15 years. Not a team, not a generation, a machine. A machine designed to produce, polish, and deploy football assets with the precision of a manufacturing line. And the thing about a manufacturing line, it does not have bad days, it does not age, it does not get nervous in a final, it just keeps running. The Spanish model begins in 2010. Spain wins the World Cup in South Africa, and instead of celebrating, the Royal Spanish Football Federation commissions an internal audit. Iniesta and Xavi are still holding the trophy, and the RFEF is asking a question no football federation had ever asked before. How do you turn one World Cup into a dynasty? The answer was not more training. The answer was not better coaches. The answer was infrastructure treated as national economic policy. Between 2010 and 2025, the RFEF invested over 800 million euros in coaching education, youth facilities, and regional academies across all 17 autonomous communities. But the real investment was not financial, it was structural. Spain passed regulations that tied every professional club's licensing to their academy output. La Liga did not encourage youth development. La Liga made it a condition of existence. If you wanted to play in the first division, you had to prove you were producing players. Let that land for a moment. Spain did not hope clubs would develop talent. Spain legislated development into the business model of every professional club in the country. Now, the consequence. The starting 11 Spain fielded against Argentina in the 2026 World Cup final was not a team, it was a portfolio, a curated collection of assets developed, valued, and deployed by a system that treats footballers the way a private equity fund treats its holdings. Lamine Yamal, 19 years old, market valuation north of 1 billion euros. Not because anyone would pay that price, but because Barcelona structured his release clause as a signal. The clause is not a transfer mechanism. The clause is a price tag that tells every bank, every investor, every corporate partner, this is what entry costs. The billion euros is not for Yamal. The billion euros is for the conversation. Pedri, 23 years old, 120 million euros. Produced by Las Palmas, polished by Barcelona, deployed by Spain. Gavi, 21, 90 million euros. La Masia product, embedded in Barcelona's midfield at 17, starting a World Cup final at 21. Nico Williams, 23, 70 million euros. Athletic Bilbao's Academy Jewel, a product so pure to the Basque system that his valuation carries 0 acquisition cost on Bilbao's books, pure margin. Ferran Torres, 26, 45 million euros. Recruited at 15, developed inside Valencia's infrastructure, now a World Cup winner. These are not transfer marked numbers pulled from a public database. These are the internal valuations Spanish clubs carry on their balance sheets. These are the numbers that secure loans against future broadcast revenue. These are the numbers that attract sponsorship renewals at premium multipliers. These are the numbers that keep lenders from calling their debts. The 11 players Spain deployed against Argentina represented a combined asset value exceeding 1.5 billion euros, and every single one was produced inside Spanish borders. No strategic imports, no foreign purchases, no naturalized talent. Spain grew a billion-euro balance sheet from its own soil. To understand why Lamine Yamal is the crown jewel of this machine, you need to understand what Barcelona did the moment Yamal scored his first professional goal at age 16. Barcelona did not celebrate. Barcelona called their legal department. Within 48 hours of that goal, Yamal's release clause was set at 1 billion euros. This was not a valuation. This was a moat. Barcelona was telling the global market two things simultaneously. To other clubs, this asset is unavailable at any price. To lenders, this asset single-handedly offsets our entire debt exposure. Barcelona carried 1.3 billion euros in liabilities. Yamal's clause was 1 billion. The math was not accidental. That distinction is the entire Spanish model in a single sentence. Lamine Yamal is not a footballer who happens to be valuable. Lamine Yamal is a financial instrument who happens to play football. His legs generate goals. His contract generates leverage. And in the Spanish system, the leverage matters more than the goals. If this audit is landing, you know where the subscribe button is. If you want more forensic breakdowns of the billion-euro machinery behind elite football, subscribe now. Now the final, Argentina versus Spain, Messi versus the machine. And for 120 minutes, the machine did something no opponent has ever done to Lionel Messi in a major international final. It made him irrelevant. 0 shots on goal, 0 shots off target, 0 attempts of any kind. The man who has scored over 800 career goals, the man who dragged Argentina to a World Cup title in 2022, the man widely considered the most complete attacker in football history, did not pull the trigger once in a World Cup final. Spain's midfield, Pedri, Gavi, Rodri, Dani Olmo, operated not as 4 individual players, but as a single processing unit trained in the same system since childhood. They did not try to mark Messi. Marking implies reacting to the opponent. Spain anticipated. Every time Messi touched the ball, 3 Spanish players were already stationed in the lanes he wanted to attack. This was not defending. This was predictive modeling executed by humans who have been running these patterns since they were 12 years old. Now compare the benches. Argentina substituted a midfielder. The replacement was a 34-year-old from the domestic league. Spain substituted a midfielder. The replacement was Gavi. Gavi got tired. Spain substituted Gavi. The replacement was Dani Olmo. The quality did not fluctuate. The tactical structure did not shift. The machine does not care which component is plugged into which socket. It runs at the same speed regardless. That is the difference between a team built around genius and a team built as a manufacturing line. The genius can have an off night. The genius can age. The genius can be neutralized by a disciplined system. The manufacturing line does none of these things. It runs, it produces, it wins. Let that land for a moment. Argentina did not fail. Argentina played exactly to the ceiling of their model, a model that had delivered 3 consecutive major tournament victories. Build everything around a singular, irreplaceable talent and hope that talent never declines. That model is not broken, but that model has a natural expiration date. And on the night that expiration date arrived, the opposing model did not celebrate. The opposing model continued operating because machines do not celebrate. Machines iterate. Here is the number that matters more than the final score. In the 4-year cycle between the 2022 World Cup and the 2026 World Cup, the Argentine Football Association invested approximately 45 million euros in youth development infrastructure. The Royal Spanish Football Federation invested over 300 million euros, 7-1. This was not a football match. This was a collision between two economic philosophies dressed as a sporting event. One philosophy bets everything on the individual genius and accepts the depreciation curve. The other philosophy builds a system where talent is manufactured, scaled, and replaced before the market even notices the previous unit has aged. Spain did not beat Argentina. Spain's asset pipeline beat Argentina's hope. The audit is complete. Subscribe for the next forensic breakdown. Meeting adjourned.